WSAZ News Channel 3. First look at 4.
Today on First Look at 4, we're talking health concerns with food. Old eggs, raw cookie dough, even contaminated lettuce we've been hearing about. And well, speaking of cookie dough, we'll show you a recipe that tastes great. You can eat it raw, and the best part, it's completely safe.
And then a little later on in this hour, we're talking about kids and those smartphones. How much screen time is too much? A group of investors is now asking Apple to intervene.
And we've had a mix of sun and clouds, more sunshine this afternoon, making for a spring-like feel across the area. Get used to it. Temperatures are still on the rise, and more of that is coming our way. Details on the forecast are ahead.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. We begin with a breaking news alert out of Ashland, where we have just learned Kentucky Electric Steel will be shutting down its plant in March.
Yeah, that's according to Mayor Steve Gilmore. He says he received an email from the company just this morning. The email says the plant will cease operations permanently, and 113 Specialty Steelworks employees will be affected by this. The closure begins March 10th and will be finalized about 2 weeks later. Business challenges are being cited as the reason for that plant closing.
Investigators are calling it a freak accident. A husband and father is dead after a normal day at work.
Yeah, deputies say he was killed while tearing down an abandoned house. It happened on Sunday in Scioto County. News Channel 3's Caitlin LeBeau spoke to one of his family members today as they, of course, try to process this loss.
Right. I mean, unless your loved one has a dangerous job, and even then, you still expect them to come home at the end of the day. When it came to his job, David Collins was no beginner at this. He's worked in carpentry his entire life, and this was just another job. He was hired to tear down a house on Piketon Road in Lucasville. Deputies say he was working inside when a piece of the roof somehow fell on him, killing him. Collins was just 59 years old. He leaves behind a wife and 7 kids. I talked to his niece today, who says the family is absolutely devastated, and she wants him to be remembered not just for the way he died, but for the way he lived.
I spoke to a few family members. They're just devastated. I mean, it was something that a freak accident, you know, something that shouldn't even happen. He was doing something that he does every day by working. You know, he was a hard worker, and to die like that, it's crazy. You wouldn't think something like that would happen.
Now, she is also devastated by how she found out about her uncle's death. Micah tells me that a video was posted to Facebook of the first responders removing the body from the house, and she says that was really hard for her and her family to watch. So she's using this as an example to urge people to be careful about what they post online.
Yeah, naturally.
Be sensitive about those things. All
right.
Caitlin, thanks so much. Collins is from Franklin Furnace, and Micah says they have a really big family that, of course, now misses him.
And we will have more information about his memorial service on our website as soon as we get it later on this evening.
All right, now to the weather on this Tuesday afternoon. Not as cold as it's been. You got the sun shining out there, and temperatures, great news, finally looking up.
In fact, we're even seeing sun today. Better enjoy it, though, while it's here. This afternoon turned in just a great day. It's gorgeous
like
out there.
Like a spring day out there.
It felt
Beautiful.
like we were in springtime.
Yeah.
Temperatures in the mid-40s. So, I mean, I did still see my breath across the area, like as I was outside, but it felt so warm.
It really did.
And more of that is on the way. Temperatures are actually going to climb 10 degrees by tomorrow. But tonight's still going to be a cool one for us as we fall back down through the 40s after sunset into the 30s. We'll have some patchy fog. Could be dense in some spots as we hit the late evening hours into our overnight hours. And then even by morning, temperatures in the mid-30s. And then as we head into the afternoon tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds again. Temperatures are going to be in the mid-50s. There could be a stray shower around. Not looking at a ton of rain, at least not yet, but we could have a sprinkler or two roll through the region tomorrow. HD dual Doppler shows that we just have a mix of sun and clouds out there now. Looks like there could be a little bit of a sprinkle activity to our south. Otherwise, like I mentioned, showers nearby. You can see the overcast skies out to our west. That will bring back that chance for some rain as we head towards the end of the weekend. We're also going to be watching the system that's sitting on top of California now. That's going to move our way and give us end of the week showers, and it's also going to grab that cold air again and bring it back to our forecast by the time we hit the weekend. So enjoy it while you can. That warm weather's only here through the rest of the work week.
I don't even want to think about the cold weather again.
It's going to come back, yeah.
Yeah.
And we haven't even begun to even get to halfway through January, so there's a lot more of this ahead.
All right,
Thanks, Chelsea.
Well, when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up? Did you follow that dream?
Well, there's a contest underway right now in the Mountain State aimed at starting that conversation, and it can also start off a college fund too. It's the Smart 529 When I Grow Up essay contest. It's been a yearly thing in West Virginia and kicked off for 2018 at Rock Branch Elementary School.
Yeah, the essay contest is open to kids from kindergarten through the 5th grade. Kids, all you have to do is write a 100-word or less essay on what I want to be when I grow up. Entries are judged in 5 separate regions in 3 age groups. Now, 15 regional winners will get $500 invested into Smart 529 college savings accounts. That's nice. And one random winner drawn from that group will get $5,000 in 529 accounts. That's even better.
Wow.
The whole contest is meant to highlight the importance of going to college and saving early.
The exciting part about this contest is it starts getting kids to start dreaming about what they want to be when they grow up. And that is very important.
If your child wants to enter an essay, or if you're a teacher and you want to enter, there is a website with all that information. The teachers can get the info on the essay fun as well, with a chance for one to win $2,500.
That's really good. And we've, of course, posted all that information on WSAZ.com under featured links. By the way, the deadline to enter is Friday, February 23rd. Now to health matters and safe sleep for infants. Here's a startling statistic. Around 3,500 babies die because of sleep-related deaths. That's every single year in the U.S. The CDC says 1 in 5 mothers don't put their baby on his or her back to sleep, and 2 out of every 5 use soft bedding. Now, both of those, they say, are dangerous risks for sleep-related death. They also say your baby should sleep in your room for at least the first 6 months of its life, although a full year is recommended. There's also word out today on risks associated with men taking high doses of ibuprofen. A study from Denmark finds it could reduce fertility. Researchers gave healthy young men 600 milligrams of ibuprofen twice a day. Well, within weeks, their natural production of testosterone was disrupted. It also led to a condition usually seen in middle-aged men that could cause erectile dysfunction and fatigue. The impact was mild, though, and temporary. A trade group for over-the-counter meds says the safety of these products has been well documented by decades of scientific study.
Well, there is some big news for folks who love their Ford F-150. Ford says it will roll out a diesel version of the pickup this year. The truck is expected to get 30 miles a gallon on the highway with a towing capacity of 11,400 pounds. Perfect for those people who want to tow or haul large loads. You can just hear the Dennis Leary commercial right now. You can start ordering the truck this month with the expected delivery in the spring. So far, a price tag hasn't been released, but if you've been in the market at all for a pickup truck over the last 5 to 10 years, you know it's going to be expensive. We are just a month away from the Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang, and check it out. Today, we got our first look at what Team USA will wear on the medal stand.
Look at sharp.
Yeah, the outfits are designed to keep the athletes warm, since most of the medal ceremonies will be held in open-air arenas, and most of them are taking place at night. And temperatures are expected to be below freezing, and the outfits include a jacket, pants, the boots, the gloves, everything waterproof, and the jacket even has, listen to this, built-in hand warmers.
Wow. Can I get in on one of those?
I think that will sell well. They can. That's going to go. And then look at, I think it's has a little Nike on it, so I'm sure they'll be selling it too.
Lots of USA
and
insignia. Wow.
By the way, they're touchscreen compatible, so we could get them here and use them on our touchscreen.
Yeah, that would be incredible. Hand warmers built in. I would buy that any day.
I like that idea. Yeah.
All right, well, still ahead, we are talking about some safety concerns when it comes to kids. The first major toy-making company now paying the price after the FTC says it violated children's privacy laws.
And then in about 20 minutes, we will tell you why, if you're looking for a job, you may not want to start at the mall.
And as we go to break, here's a live look at I-64 near the Oakwood Road exit in Charleston. Some traffic out there, but things are moving smoothly.
And the snow in Summersville is melting away. Still going to see any of that lingering snow gone over the next several days as temperatures climb 10, even 20 degrees warmer than they are right now. I'll detail the forecast still ahead.
The toy maker VTech has agreed to pay $650,000 to settle charges that it violated a law protecting children's privacy.
The FTC says VTech collected personal information from kids without getting parental consent. And they did not do enough to protect the data that they collected. The FTC says this is the first privacy and security case related to toys connected to the internet, and with new technology constantly hitting the market, it likely will not be the last. So now to a serious situation in California where the threat of dangerous mudslides and what they're saying could be a river of debris has triggered thousands of mandatory evacuations.
Yeah, and these are areas, of course, that have already been devastated by wildfires. Here's a look at some of the pictures of rescues happening by the Santa Barbara County Fire Department. This was in the town of Montecito just this morning. It's a very scary and unpredictable scene out there. And a lot of folks trying to get out, they're having some trouble. They're actually getting stuck. Yeah, this is a picture of a Burbank police unit stuck in the mud. Just one of many cars, unfortunately, swept up in a mud flow in that area out there.
Hopefully somebody rescued the officer.
Yeah.
Once the mud comes and goes, all of the debris is left behind, so many areas are still impassable. Even if the mud is gone, this is another area near Montecito along Highway 101. And we talk about this could only be the beginning. This could only be the beginning of this, because all it would take is a little bit of rain in a good situation. But we're talking about these areas that have just been decimated by and they don't have the vegetation to hold up the mud anymore. So it's just pouring downhill. John Mara has talked about that for so long. If you strip an area along the hillside and take off all the vegetation, naturally there's going to be mudslides. So we're going to see that now.
That area just can't catch a break.
No.
Yeah, it's rough. All right, as we go to break, we want to take a live look outside from our Logan weather cam.
Yeah, there's still some ice in the Guyandotte River. It's probably not going to be around for much longer, though, Chelsea.
You're exactly right. Temperatures are only getting started as they climb, and we're headed for warmer temperatures through the end of the work week. I'll detail what we can expect after the break.
All right, are you feeling it? The sinuses thing, a lot of people are having to deal with that right now. And the up and down temperatures, that's what's doing it. It does tend to mess with your sinuses. And the up and down temperatures, we better get used to it, because it's going to be up and down all over the place this week.
It smells like worms to me outside.
It does,
you know,
it has
like
that,
when the ground is
warm,
frozen and now it's
and then
like
it comes up. Yeah, and you smell the worms. They're coming out of the ground.
Yeah, it's just wet from what we had the other day, yesterday, and now things are going to try and dry out. But we keep that chance for a scattered shower off and on in the forecast this week before widespread rain takes over and drops our temperatures. But until then,
hold on for that.
Yeah, until then, it's going to be nice, mild, and comfortable for the next several days. So here's what we're looking at for the rest of the evening. Or let me go back one. There we go. As we go through the rest of the evening, temperatures are going to fall through the 40s until about sunset, and then we'll ultimately slowly make our way down through the 30s. So overall, it will be a chilly night for us, but again, not quite as cold as it has been. Kind of like where we were yesterday in the mid-30s. That's where we will bottom out by the morning hours, and we'll see a little bit of sunshine by the afternoon, but it will still be another mix of sun and clouds tomorrow. Rain could be nearby, so a stray shower can't be completely ruled out, but temperatures go into the mid-50s. That's about 10 degrees warmer than where we are right now. Overall, you can see we're sitting in the mid-40s. Grayson, Huntington, Charleston, even Paintsville at 46, Logan and Pikeville 47. Gallipolis a little bit cooler. You can see that cold air still just to our north, but a south wind is going to bring in that warmer air for all of us. HD dual Doppler showing that mix of clouds across the area. Overall, we did get a little bit of sunshine, but there's still more activity out to our west in regards to clouds and a little bit of scattered showers. We could also have a little bit of sprinkle activity in this as this moves our way for tomorrow. So that's why we're not completely taking out the rain chance, but overall it's going to be a dry day tomorrow, and we'll be watching this activity out to our west. This is what's going to start to move our way and give us that chance for some scattered and then becoming widespread rain by the end of the week. This is also going to grab that colder air that's locked up to our north and bring back again another blast of cold air by the weekend. But until then, still going to be mild. Through the rest of the night, the clouds will keep us from plummeting, so we're still going to sit in the mid-30s tonight. Notice tomorrow morning there could be a stray shower through southern Ohio. Most of us, again, going to be on the dry side of things. Notice how we break to just a little bit of sunshine by the afternoon. And again, because of the overcast skies out to the west, one or two of those could make their way into our area. Otherwise, by Thursday, then we're going to start to see that chance for some scattered rain increase, especially by the end of the day. Notice how it starts to come at us from the west and from the east. So it's going to still be a mainly dry day on Thursday, but by the end of the day, we'll be dealing with the rain factor. Otherwise, it's nice and warm out there right now compared to where we have been. Temperatures still warm up, even about 20 more degrees by the end of the week before that cold air pushes in, and we'll be battling another rain-snow mix by the end of the week into the weekend. But until then, it's not going to be bad across the area. Temperatures still going to be in the mid-30s tonight, and then we'll be heading into the mid and upper 50s tomorrow. And then by the time we hit the weekend, we're heading into the mid-60s. You can see Thursday and Friday, 60. And then once we hit the weekend, that cold air moves in. Friday will then be rain changing to ice, ice changing to snow. And notice the overnight low Friday into Saturday, the exact same number, which means all day on Saturday, temperatures are going to be falling back down into the teens.
We're hitting like all the seasons in 1 week.
Oh, we are, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're going from a high of 60 2 days later to a low of 13.
With some ice. Imagine that.
That'll mess with the sinuses, that's for sure.
Yeah, you're going to want to keep the light jacket, the mild jacket,
Have
and
them
then
all
the heavy
there,
coats
yeah.
all out.
Still.
Layer up, baby, that's for sure.
Chelsea, thanks so
Thanks,
much.
Chelsea. Coming up, we are talking health concerns with food, from old eggs in the fridge to the perils of eating raw cookie dough, even contaminated lettuce that we've been hearing about.
And speaking of cookie dough, in about 10 minutes, we'll show you a recipe that you can eat raw. That's right. And it's completely safe, too. Well, now to Health Matters and some health concerns dealing with food.
Our favorite infectious disease specialist, and everyone's favorite, is here once again, Dr. Thomas Rushton from St. Mary's Medical Center. Okay, so it was like 28 days ago we did a little egg test, and you brought the egg back. This has been out of the refrigerator for about 28 days, about almost a month now.
That's right.
Is it safe?
No, it's not.
I didn't think so.
I wouldn't touch this. In fact, you don't even want to drop it. But we're going to put it in the water.
And this is the test to
This
tell,
is the test.
right?
I mean, if you've got an egg that does this, you've got a problem. So you remember, we dropped this egg December 19th. It went to the bottom.
And went to the bottom.
Okay, now.
To the bottom and bounced right up to the top.
Yeah,
So that's
full of gas.
bad.
That's very bad.
That is bad when it rises.
Yeah.
Should we crack it open just for fun?
No, I don't think Erica would appreciate that at all.
I'm impressed that you kept this egg for that long.
I mean,
the choice of a scientist.
Okay.
So if we, let's just hypothetically say you take that, you put it on a very hot surface, and cook it down completely.
Yes.
Scramble it and cook it down. Is it safe?
From a bacterial perspective, it would become safe, but the stench would be, quite potent.
So it would be a horrible taste.
Yes,
then, too.
the bad egg smell, hydrogen sulfide. So it would, you wouldn't. Once you crack this, you wouldn't even want to be in that room.
But if you were in a situation, and I'm talking like it's a survival. But if you were in a survival situation,
State 28.
Right? Yeah, and you could.
You gotta swim across
only eat the egg.
You could do that. You could eat it by cooking it entirely.
Yes.
And it would be safe.
If you think of an old nursery rhyme, porridge in the pot 9 days old. What they would do is take all their scraps of food, put it in the big pot, and just keep adding to it and keeping it warm to keep bacterial growth down. Because you didn't have refrigeration.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
Right.
Right.
This is like fascinating to me, though. So, okay, from when we first put it in, that was like day 7 at that point. I think,
Approximately day 7, correct.
About one weekend to day 28-ish.
I mean,
when is like the time period in between there that it goes from okay to not okay?
Well, again, this is an American harvested washed egg.
Right.
You must keep these refrigerated.
Okay.
What about the ones that, let's say, the chicken lays the egg? You have your own chickens in the backyard in a coop. Chicken lays the egg. How long can it stay out there?
Don't wash that egg.
Okay.
And it's be good for several weeks.
Several weeks outside in the chicken coop.
Yes.
So it would be okay probably day 28. It might be good.
Yes.
That's a
Yeah, refrigerated egg you can keep for around 50 days.
Okay.
That's incredible.
Oh, okay. So it'll last that long.
Okay. So I got to ask, speaking of eggs, we've been talking about cookie
Right.
dough.
Yes.
And whether or not it's safe to eat, but a lot of it actually has to do with the flour and not the
The
egg,
most
right?
recent outbreak blew my mind. I thought we were going to be talking about salmonella. We're not. We're talking again about E. coli.
Yeah.
So food safety has taken a strong shift towards the E. coli route rather than salmonella. And there was an outbreak that the one common issue was everybody had eaten raw cookie dough made with the same flour.
Okay.
And while they couldn't find the E. coli in that flour, that was what was implicated. So we have to say that that story is not completely closed, because there may be something else that was going on there. But it certainly appears that in processing, it became contaminated.
All right, we're going to do a raw cookie dough little taste test a little bit later on. But before we go to the break, we just have a few seconds. The whole romaine lettuce thing right now, that's gotten a lot of attention.
And it's going to, because again, you know, it should not have E. coli inside of its leaves. This should be something that you, as you're seeing right here, you should wash it off. It should be fine.
Yeah.
And yet that's not the case. We are getting contamination now in a way that is rather novel.
Even if you wash it
Very
off.
different,
It's not going to help because it's inside.
That's
So
scary.
obviously you know, there's a greater demand for green, leafy green,
Sure, yeah.
you know, salads and so on. And there's something that's occurring in the processing that's actually contaminating.
And they haven't figured it out, so it's
No.
best to avoid romaine right now? Is that your
Well,
suggestion? That seemed to be the suggestion on the news we had the other day.
I think that you know, you don't know where your suppliers are and
Right.
so on.
Yeah.
I think what's most critical when we're talking about foodborne illnesses is not to change your diet in any one direction. You know, try to eat healthily, obviously, and then keep in mind what you're eating. And if you think there's any issue, you know, save those labels. Save those identification
point, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's
numbers,
true.
and that will help
Yeah.
with the outbreak investigation.
Sounds good.
right.
Okay. Thanks,
All right.
Doc.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming in.
Always.
All right.
Still ahead on First Look at 4, Dr. Rushton is sticking around with us as we attempt an edible cookie dough, free from the health concerns we've been warned about for years. The question, though, does it taste good?
We shall see. And in about 20 minutes, we are talking about those pesky baggage fees. Is there any way to avoid them? We have some tips to help save you some money.
WSAC News Channel 3 with Erica Divins, Tim Ear, and meteorologist Chelsea Ambries. This is News Channel 3 First Look at 4.
Well, there is good news for anyone looking for a job. There are more of them.
Yeah, the U.S. economy added nearly 150,000 jobs in December, so the job market looking pretty good, unless you go to the mall. Thanks to record numbers of store closings, bankruptcies, and the shift to online shopping, many retailers have been forced to slash positions. Last year, the sector lost nearly 67,000 jobs, and despite a generally strong holiday shopping season, retailers added 55% fewer jobs this past December than in the same time period in 2016.
Wow.
And experts say, unfortunately, that trend is likely to continue in 2018.
Folks in the U.S. borrowed more money in November in midst of those holiday sales. It jumped by nearly 9% in November, bringing the outstanding consumer debt to a total of $3.83 trillion. That's the highest it's been now in 2 years.
The Federal Reserve says Americans ran up nearly $28 billion in new debt on their credit cards to pay for auto and maybe student loans. Experts say the increase is a sign of growing confidence in the economy.
All right, now to check the forecast, how about this cool view from NASA?
Wow.
Quite literally a cool view. It's a sign that the deep freeze we've been dealing with in the U.S. has had us tightly in its grasp. Well, not anymore anyway. You can see portions of the frozen Northeast from space.
That's really cool there.
I know, what
It's
a great shot.
Different view. Totally different from
Yeah.
what we're going through right now, where it's like a new
Warm
spring
up.
day.
Yeah.
The satellite composite from NASA will be the opposite,
Yeah.
going from ice melting down. That's
Look
what
at
you'll
the
be
day.
able to see. Yeah.
Right.
Well, we are back now as promised with a recipe for edible and safe raw cookie dough.
All right, so let's take a look at the ingredients. You will need softened butter. You'll need cane sugar, brown sugar, vanilla extract, and gluten-free, that's very important, gluten-free baking flour, some sea salt, some mini chocolate chips, and if you also want to add some larger chocolate chunks, you can kind of do whatever you'd like to take.
No question.
So this is what we're going to deal with here. We have our finished product, so that's already ready to go.
We'll eat that in a minute.
We can't eat some right now?
Oh, here, use a spoon.
Use a spoon.
Jeez.
Okay.
It doesn't matter how safe you are.
Yeah, see, but I want to put the spoon back in there, so
Well,
I'm
there's
gonna...
4 spoons.
Okay.
All right, so how do we get this started? We're going to try to make this over here.
All right.
We need the butter first,
Okay.
along
Stuff
with
this in. Butter,
the vanilla.
vanilla.
Okay. And then we put in the sugar and the brown sugar.
Mix
And we
that
stir
up.
that first. Melanie, how long do you suggest we stir this? You're the expert. Till it's mixed.
Till it's
Okay.
mixed,
You gotta make a
correct.
syrup.
All
out
right.
of
She
it.
said that usually takes 2.5 hours. So just keep turning.
No, I don't think it'll take that long.
Yeah. Obviously a mixer would
The magic of
do
TV.
a lot faster, but you're really good at that.
That's pretty good.
Well,
Wow.
you know, if you're making chocolate mousse, you have to be able to do this.
Wow. Proving
gotta
that he's not
ask.
just good in the medical field, he's good in the baking field too.
Well, you don't even bake that, but it does have
Yeah,
raw
we're going to
eggs.
start bringing you back to do cooking segments.
Well, I'd love to do that.
Okay.
There we
Yeah.
go.
So, okay, with the flour.
Okay, so
we
ready to
can
go.
dump this
Are you
into-
ready?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
Uh-huh.
Make it
How do we know that this flour is different in terms of the bacteria and the things like that with a gluten-free flour?
Yeah, the gluten-free is made of sorghum, it says.
Made with sorghum. I mean, we're still trying to figure out why
Look at this.
flour is contaminated with E. coli. So again, everything's being processed, and if there's contamination anywhere in that processing line, it's going to carry on to the consumer. So if
Yeah.
you're eating raw product, you're always going to run the risk. Now, do I think the risk is exorbitant? Am I not going to try this? It's got chocolate. You know I'm going to try it.
Is
Right,
he
of
not going
course.
to try this?
So what is the, and maybe you can explain this, what is the difference? Why whole grain sorghum is the #1 ingredient on the back of this label right here?
Yeah.
What makes that different, and why is it okay to eat that as opposed to if I had a bag of regular flour?
Well, I mean, the thing that makes this, I don't know what this would, if we use regular flour, what this would taste like. So I think that's the first thing. We don't have eggs here.
Okay.
And if you look at most cookie dough, you're going to have egg in there because that yolk is such a wonderful emulsifier.
Right.
We really aren't having that.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
can see it is kind of dry and chunky.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not smooth. So that may be one thing. But again, if this product was being run through the same factory that was processing a wheat, which wouldn't be because this is gluten-free,
Right.
you could get that contamination.
Okay.
So, I mean, you can't say that the risk is zero here. Thank you.
Okay.
Do you like another spoon?
No, I'm fine, because remember, I didn't touch this to my mouth. So, okay, I'm gonna taste what we just made.
All right, Dr. Rushton,
You have to
must
try some, too.
this.
Thank you.
I'll ball it up a little bit like I'm making a real cookie. Yeah, it's more, see what I mean? It's more broken up and grainy than if you had regular cookie dough with the egg in it.
Yeah. It's drier, and you do have that granularity of the sugar.
Still tastes good. I mean, it's not bad. It's not like it's good. I mean, it tastes good, but it doesn't, it's still not the cookie dough.
Yeah, if you're thinking cookie dough, this does not taste
the emulsifier,
like
that makes all the
cookie dough.
difference.
But-
So if you have an egg, and again, I point out when we look at Rocky taking 6 eggs in a glass and drinking them straight down in the movie, if you add the egg in there, I'm not going to say don't eat it, even though you might say that.
Well, I think
I'm not a doctor, though.
If I look at the amount of salmonella that is out there, and if you watch cooking shows, they're going to say, listen, the risk is there. But if you're using fresh eggs,
Yeah.
I mean, would I bring this to a church dinner?
Right, and say, eat it up.
Absolutely, absolutely not.
Right.
But with, you're serving for your family, you've got all those ingredients, you made it all fresh that day, you're going to consume it at that time.
Done.
The risk is going to be low. That's not zero.
Right.
But it is low.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And of course, anytime you eat anything raw, you have risk. So,
That's true. Yeah.
So you got to be careful. But I think if you refrigerated this, that might actually
It
take
might
some of
taste
the
better later.
granularity.
I think
Okay.
so too.
Yeah, a
If you
little
want to
colder.
try it, I mean, we're
It's not bad.
going
Certainly
to
not
post this
bad.
on our Facebook page.
I'll have some more.
Yeah. Just have
Yeah.
a first look at Fora,
No
and you
problem.
can give it a whirl yourself.
Well, thank you for coming in
Well,
again,
thank you.
and thanks for sticking around for this
Some
segment.
raw cookie dough.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
surprised
Yeah.
you tasted it.
Well, coming up, we are talking typos and why a small slip on your computer's keyboard could make you susceptible to thieves online.
And we'll show you one area that's usually hot, but yeah, this week, getting a brush with wintry weather instead. Now to a consumer alert on a new warning on something just about every one of us has done. You're typing in a web address when maybe you accidentally mistype a letter here or a letter there.
Well, the problem is it looks like you ended up at the right place, but in fact, it's a page set up by thieves trying to get their hands on your money.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Tom Costello joins us now with the details.
We've all done it, mistyped a web address by just a single letter. Netflix with an E after the T, Southwester instead of Southwest, Google with an extra E.
I had mistyped Costco, COSTOCO.com.
That extra O landed Alan Stern on a website that looked like Costco, where he was asked to fill out a survey to get a free bottle of face cream if he paid for shipping. He talked to KNTV in San Francisco.
I looked at my credit card statement, and there's 4 $98 charges on my account.
It wasn't until he called Costco to complain that he learned it wasn't their website that had taken his money. It's called typo squatting. Website addresses often run by overseas criminals just waiting for our fat finger typos.
They look for a major brand name, a website address that you'd normally visit, and they add a letter, remove a letter, maybe choose 2 that are really similar on the keyboard.
The victims, you and me, are often convinced to type in our personal information, maybe click on a link that infects our computer, even faced with a warning that it's already been infected and we need to update the security software. All of it a scam.
This is actually totally fake.
This is not legit.
This is not an update screen.
We found a long list of typo squatting websites registered in Russia, Germany, even Australia and the U.S.
Typo squatting isn't big or clever, but it's effective.
To protect their customers, companies often register the common misspellings of their own websites. But security experts warn that little padlock on the address bar is no guarantee the website is legit. The best advice, be skeptical and double-check your spelling.
And then what about autocorrect? Because sometimes it'll automatically flip around what you're trying to type in.
That's
too.
true.
You gotta be careful.
If you want to get past all that, instead of typing up on the top, you just Google that, Google what you're searching for, and that will bring you up to what legitimately is it. So
always double check.
Yeah. As we go to the break, let's take a live look outside from our Summersville weather cam.
Yeah, looking pretty nice there, but we'll show you an unusual place getting in on colder temperatures, even some snow this week.
And we'll get a break from the cold temperatures this week, but it is still back in our forecast. I'll detail what you can expect after the break.
Years now since the airline started charging for every checked bag, and now the new fees can add hundreds of dollars to your next vacation budget. Bob Hansen joins us with some tips for flyers looking to cut down or skip those airline baggage fees altogether.
I hate it. I don't think it's fair to the consumers, the people that have to travel.
Lorraine Henry speaks for lots of airline travelers stuck with paying extra for their checked luggage. Lorraine is a small business owner that teaches at sewing expos around the country.
Probably about a third of the year I'm gone.
And that means checking 2 bags on every flight. If Lorraine had to pay for those bags,
I'm talking, $1,500 a year. Just in baggage fees.
Travelers are finding ways to cut down or skip those fees. First off, freeload on the freebies. Child car seats and strollers are checked for free. Before you zip them up in their travel bags, pack some items inside. Don't pay for overweight bags. Pack your heaviest items in your carry-on. That way you can pack more in checked bags without going over the 50-pound limit.
You'd be surprised at what lengths I go to on my carry-on.
Try wearing your luggage. If you have a jacket with multiple pockets, pack those full and wear the jacket. You can stow it once you settle in. Book tickets with an airline credit card. Many carriers will waive baggage fees for airline card holders and their companions. If you put in lots of miles like Lorraine Henry, try to reach the airline miles level that'll give you free bags. In Lorraine's case, that means going 50,000 miles every year.
If I have to have more, then I will throw in an extra trip somewhere to get those miles.
Finally, consider flying a higher class that waives baggage fees. This may sound crazy, but if you expect to bring a lot of bags, flying first class might be the same price as flying coach and paying for all your luggage. Baggage fees add up for every passenger. Finding ways to fly and save a few bucks can mean more money for your trip.
All right, well, if you think it's been cold here lately, you might be dreaming of maybe taking a flight to somewhere warmer like the Sahara. Yeah, not so fast. Even the world's hottest desert got in on snow this week. Really, take a look. Pretty rare out there, and unfortunately, it didn't stick around too long. The snow melted as temperatures rose throughout the day, and I was doing a little research, Chelsea. I think the last time they had some snow of this extent was like 1979, so it's rare, but yeah, it does happen.
Yeah, I mean, at night in the desert, it gets cold, but it's the daytime
that's crazy.
It gets excruciating hot, and that's why it didn't last long. The
Hopefully they got some
heat,
pictures.
Melted it all away.
Oh,
it's crazy to look at the snow on the sand there.
The color, too, just so drastically different there.
Yeah.
Pretty, though. Here, very different story. We are warm here today. It's spring.
Yeah, it feels like spring compared to how cold. You're stepping outside kind of anticipating it to be bone chilling, and it's just not. And it's not going to be like that for the next several days either. So as we go through the rest of the evening between Thursday and Sunday.
Cold stuff.
Block that out.
Wow. Okay.
Chelsea, thanks.
Thanks, Chelsea. After the break, smartphones and kids.
Yeah, are they addicted to their devices? Well, a bunch of Apple investors say, yep, and they're asking for help straight from the source.
We mentioned this yesterday, but investors apparently want Apple to put their money where their mouth is. They're urging the tech giant to help deal with kids who are becoming increasingly addicted to their gadgets.
Yeah, they're asking Apple for help with dealing with screen addiction. Yeah, they say they've seen attention spans plummet, depression rise, and really a big change in just the way kids learn.
And together, investors hold nearly $2 billion worth of Apple stock, so they do have some say. And as Gadi Schwartz shows us, they want the company to make some changes.
In schools across the country, sobering statistics. The average American kid gets their first cell phone at age 10. And among teens, 50% report they're addicted to their phones.
Yeah, I am. And I think a lot of my friends are too. They'll whisper to each other and then they'll be looking at their phone again. Because maybe we don't want other people to hear it, or we're just too lazy to talk.
Now, investors are telling Apple, the makers of the most popular phone on earth, that things have to change.
There needs to be a true reckoning for the tech industry in particular about how they're designing phones and software platforms which are in fact addictive.
This morning, a letter from the California Teacher Fund and the investment group JANA Partners laying out more stats, showing increases in depression rates, sleep deprivation, and parents worried about social media's effect on their children's mental health.
And the good news is money talks. Shareholder values matter a lot to large corporations.
Investors calling for Apple to tackle addiction research, set up more parental controls, and start issuing yearly reports just like they do on environmental issues. Apple releasing a statement saying, in part, they already lead the industry by offering intuitive parental controls built right into the operating system, and they are planning new features to make these tools even more robust.
What are we learning?
But Corona Del Mar Middle School in California isn't waiting for tech companies to change. They've got new rules: no cell phones in class or at lunch.
You'll find students engaging with each other, talking with each other, and what students really just needed was they needed permission to stay kids.
Teachers quick to point out the first screens kids see are usually their parents.
In our house, what we try to do is use it more as a tool than a toy.
The Gerdal family embraces tech, but put limits on phone play. When their kids do get screen time, it's usually math or robotics.
Hello, Dad.
But they're the first to admit they feel the pull.
When our kids see us with the phone staring at it, maybe reading the news, all they know is we're looking at the phone.
So they do everything they can to keep their kids engaged the old-fashioned way.
I think there was a package on your door today.
Oh, that might be the second book.
I don't know what this...
Yes, that's the second book.
And you'd rather play with this than the phone?
Yes.
Cool.
Now, that family says 10 still feels a little young to give, a phone to their son. But
As for how much time people spend on their phones, well, there are apps that you can download to help you keep track so you don't do it too much.
Right.
Okay, so we taste tested the cookie dough earlier. Not really that very good without the egg in it. So this is the finished product. Is this tray still hot? Tray's still kind of hot.
It's 350.
It's.
You put this in the toaster oven.
I put it in the toster oven. That's all we had. Here, Dalton, step in a little bit more, a little bit closer here.
It's really hot.
What are your thoughts?
I tasted the edge.
Hot.
Yeah, it's 350. It was in there. It's hot.
Here, taste the edge.
It's better than the sandy version.
It's better than the sandy cookie, but You need some eggs in your cookie to make it taste good.
More butter.
But thanks for bringing it.